Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pac-Man World. So, to save a bit of time, I just skipped to the actual level because it's just, a pretty bland hub world with nothing going on in it. So,
Yep. Are we on the death egg?
I mean, we might as well be.
I think this was my favorite level in the game. I really like the space world.
You know what's funny?
Is Pac-Man okay?
I used to really love space levels and platformers when I was a kid, and nowadays I don't understand why. Because the actual levels in those games, when I look back at them now, they're just like, wow, this really was an excuse for the developers to include less graphics, wasn't it? I mean...
Wait, you don't like Tron?
What? Tron? What does Tron have to do with space?
It's sort of similar aesthetic, I think. It's not so much about the lack of graphics, it's also just the excuse to throw Tron lines everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, in the space levels for for games that I've played, it generally tends to amount to there's a static space background that you see everywhere, and you're on rocks or something in space. And it's just if it weren't for the space background, I would think that's just a test level.
Out of all the standard level tropes, what do you think was always probably the most graphically intensive that they use sporadically, and why is it probably the jungle theme?
Because there's too much shit.
The moment you say that, I just think of Adabat and the problems that brought.
It's always funny to me that the game running smooth as butter on the Series X now just goes to show that the world just wasn't ready for Unleashed when it came out in 2000.
Or maybe hold the phone. Sonic Unleashed was a poorly optimized game.
Well, I mean, poorly optimized in the sense that it was doing something that the hardware couldn't handle, sure. They just stopped doing the global illumination thing after that.
I think it was ultimately a victim of just being overly ambitious, which I can't really fault the devs for. Obviously you could say, yeah, you should have optimized this better so that Adabat didn't run at fucking 2 frames per second. But at the same time, I don't think it came from a place of incompetency. It was just they went a little too hard and didn't dial it back.
Well, I mean, the stuff that they did with Adabat was just global illumination with lots of quality foliage. That's the kind of stuff that you see that you see in PC games all the time nowadays. It's just not something that the hardware at the time was any good at. The global illumination was very nice when it was running well, but yes, the oldest Pac-Man trick in the book: run into a corner and just don't turn.
I love doing that, especially in the old games where his mouth is just sitting there open. He's like, guys.
Here's the thing, I'm not professional Pac-Man players. I'm talking the OG Pac-Man. We're able to find ways to, when they were going on the marathon runs where they're trying to get the max score or trying to get to the kill screen, you could manipulate Pac-Man on a corner like that to get the ghost to behave in a way that they will never approach you, and they can use that as an opportunity to take bathroom breaks.
Wait, man.
Really?
Yeah. World record players, when they're deliberately trying to max out the score cap and get to the kill screen, which is, if you don't know, the kill screen is basically the end of the game.
Yeah, it's level 256, I think.
Yeah. The game cannot progress any further than that because the game will just crash.
Yeah, because it's the number of levels is based on that old variable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they never thought anyone would get that far.
Oh my
Absolutely.
god, the first thing that pops up when you YouTube Pac-Man kill screen run is Billy Mitchell's run, aka known cheater. Literal most famous video game cheater of all time, Billy Mitchell. Okay. Yeah, it takes 6 hours to get to the kill screen. So yeah, you'll need to take some bathroom breaks.
Yeah, and I believe there's a way, because it's been a while since I've actually sort of followed that scene, where you can manipulate Pac-Man and the ghost in a way that you're just, you're doing the corner shit, mouth agape, and the ghosts are just kind of doing whatever they want, but they'll never approach Pac-Man. So you can take that opportunity to go take a piss.
Huh.
Piss man.
I mean, it is really... the original Pac-Man really is a marvel of game design and programming. Because the fact that they were able to, in one of the earliest successful video games of all time, give all 4 ghosts a personality via game mechanics is really pretty damn impressive, all things considered. Like, the fact that the doofy one just goes and wanders around in the corner. There's like a reckless one that will only just charge for you. There's a sneaky one that tries to cut you off. Like, that's pretty damn ingenious that they can do that in fucking 1981 or whenever the fuck it came out, you know? Was it 80 or 81?
80.
80, okay. Oh,
1
Game
year
&
before
Watch
Donkey
was
Kong.
81, okay.
No,
Donkey
Game & Watch
Yeah.
was also 80.
it's
Donkey Kong and Mario were 81.
Donkey Kong was 81.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Donkey Kong, the frickin' letters.
That's what, okay, thank you. That's what I was reminded of. Like collecting letters, like, what does it remind me? It's like, oh yeah, it's just country. But now it's 6 letters instead of 4. Good lord. Can you imagine a Donkey Kong Country-esque platformer, but the main character's name is like Schmitty Warburton Jingerman Jensen?
The levels are
And you
all
have to collect
7 hours long.
Every level 7 hours long because you gotta collect all those tokens. So DK64.
Yes.
Alright.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And again, we've been doing this for 15 years. I can't remember every commentary that we've done.
The
Have we ever
comment
done a
section
Rareware
does, though.
platformer? Oh yeah, I know.
Have we ever done a
But-
Rareware platformer?
Platformer.
I mean, we've done the
no.
Donkey Kong Country games, but not like...
We never played Banjo. We never played.
I've been meaning to do it for forever, but every time I want to record Banjo-Kazooie, I'd rather...
What if we did ukulele first to piss people off?
You know, a lot of people are getting, like, pissy that, oh, Ukulele's getting a remake before Banjo-Kazooie? Really? And I'm like, yeah, because Playtonic cares about their characters and Microsoft.
They also own the rights, so you know.
Yeah.
You're taking the anger on the wrong people there.
Yeah, so it's just really funny to me. But I mean, I've tried to record Banjo-Kazooie a couple times, but I just prefer the second game so much more that I just get like bored and turn it off.
Huh.
Normally, I wouldn't care about that too much, but it's one of those things where Banjo-Kazooie leads into 2E so much, not just from a story perspective, but from a gameplay perspective as well.
Yeah, that it does need to be done pretty much in order. Yeah. But yeah, we'll get there eventually. It's weird because I know you haven't played them. Ryan actually isn't a huge fan. And I like
Kazooie. I like Kazooie just fine. It's just I think 64 is more fun to me.
Okay. You're allowed to have that opinion.
You mean
Mario 64?
Wait. Oh, okay. I thought like there's a Banjo 64.
No, sorry.
I thought we were talking strictly on like Banjo stuff.
Obviously, the game we should start with is Nuts and Bolts.
There's just not a lot to say, and it's really long.
That's Ratchet and Clank, Lewis.
Huh?
We haven't done Ratchet and Clank either, actually.
No, we have not. We have done it.
Have we?
Yeah, we did Rift Apart.
Oh, you're right, we did.
Oh, I don't think I was there for that. That's why I don't remember that.
Right, I forgot that even existed.
I wanted to record Ratchet and Clank at one point, but I never actually finished recording it. Huh. Well, it's because I have the remaster, but that's on PS3.
Also, the remasters.
Well, the remaster's fine to play for a commentary. It's like its problems aren't omnipresent; they're just big when they show up. And I mean, it's kind of noticeable when the final boss.
What a selling point!
It's kind of fucking noticeable when the final boss has no music, but you don't notice that until you get to the final boss. You know.
I don't know. Like, I'm personally bothered by that sort of thing, and then is ultimately a me issue at the end of the day. But like a big reason why I was so adamant on playing the PS2 originals for that marathon years ago was because I knew the HD collection was not the best way to experience them.
Yeah.
I mean, Ratchet and Clank got off better than Jack did, for what it's worth.
From what I understand, yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, there's some wild graphical issues that happen.
I mean, all of them had problems though. Like the three major like platformers of that PS2 era all had problems with their HD collections.
I think it might have just been the PS4 HD collection in Jack's case, because I don't remember there being any major issues with the PS3 version.
I've seen some of the PS4, and yeah, there's some.
Yeah, I've heard the
things.
PS4 version isn't very good, but the PS3 version is just fine from what I've seen. I had the PS3 version, so I don't recall there being any major issues.
Yeah. I remember I at least played Jack 1 all the way through on the PS3. Ooh. Well, that didn't work.
Also, it doesn't matter how many lives you have in the main level, because Ryan had like 40. You only get 3 shots at the maze, and if you screw up, you have to start the whole level all over again.
When you say the whole level, do you mean the maze?
No, you have to start the 3D level all over again, because the
Whoa,
maze
what the fuck?
The maze is considered one of the collectibles. So you have the.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of weird. I agree.
Oh, darn it. The ghost beat you to the power pellet.
I wish those laser barriers were a little more pronounced. They kind of, their opacity is kind of weak.
Yeah, it would help if they were a bit more visually eye-catching. Oh, well.
I get it off screen, so don't worry about it too much. I showed where the Galaxian is so you can get to the
Then
maze,
Pac-Man
so.
killed them all. See, I like that. Personally speaking, as someone who's not played this game, I just kind of like that Pac-Man can just like follow a trail and just kind of like fly to the next segment. It's very Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Before Mario Galaxy was a thing.
It is, yeah. I like it even more in Pac-Man World 2 because the environments are so much more dynamic. Pac-Man World 2 levels are more Sonic Adventure or Crash Bandicoot in that you go forward instead of side to side, mostly. There's a lot more done with camera angles and dynamic level designs and whatnot. So when you do get those sorts of things, they're generally a lot more interesting environments as well. Again,
Ooh.
Pac-Man World 2 definitely has its issues, but I do quite enjoy... again, there's a lot of scope to it that this game doesn't have. This game is very...
It's a very basic
very
video
simple.
game. It's
Yeah, very simple.
It's very basic video
Constrained.
game in its construction, yeah. Ooh. We're gonna be here for a while.
Lots of collectibles on this tall tower, yes.
And outside the tower, too. Ugh. At least when you die, you keep everything you picked up.
Yep, you do.
Was it like that in the original?
I think so.
Because I know that in games where that happens, you can kind of suicide your way to certain collectibles, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you can suicide your way to collectibles in this game.
Suicide.
Like if a collectible's further back, you can just die and go back to the
Watch
last
out, gamers. I'm
checkpoint.
going to pull off what's called a suicide maneuver.
Dude, I do that all the time in games if I can get away with it. Like, we just brought up Banjo. In Banjo-Tooie, one of my favorite things to do is to jump off of a cliff to warp myself back to a beginning of a stage, or...
I will now proceed to kill myself and save 3 minutes.
Do you know how many baby tigers I've murdered in Crash Bandicoot 3?
I kind of wish you just didn't follow up on Crash Bandicoot 3 and just left it at, you know how many baby tigers I've murdered. Give something for the out of context, people.
Oh. This laser is annoying. And then it just stops. Like, it's reflecting off the metal things, and then it just stops.
Is that you, Pac Poppy? It's Professor Pac, sorry.
He must go now. His planet needs
Pac
Why do they take off like that?
Pac Tin the Sixth.
Those are words.
Debatable.
All right, let's see. What? Oh,
So I guess the question I have to follow up on then is, remake or not, is there any reason to play the PlayStation 1 original outside of nostalgia?
Yeah, if you like the original, the FMVs definitely have a lot more charm, I think, personally.
You said they also have voice acting.
They
Yes,
do.
they
Like
do.
just full out voice acting?
Mhm.
Yes, straight up voice acting. It's cheesy, you know, it perfectly fits the kind of game this is supposed to be.
yeah.
Like, in the beginning cutscene, Talkman's like, no, that has to be over there. This is my party, and stuff like that. It's pretty great. I'm trying to think, but yeah. Yeah, I can't really think of many other reasons to play the original. Again, unless if you just really like the old aesthetic, you know.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, I think.
Woo, survived that somehow.
You might prefer the old boss fights, although in the case of Anubis Rex, I'm not sure why you would.
I don't know how differently the game control. Oh, there is some slight changes to the controls. Like, there's the giant Pac-Man. I think the little flutter kick float, Yoshi float. I think
that's new.
That might be new. So, like, if you don't like that extra wiggle room the game gives you, you know, maybe.
I mean, I don't ever use the flutter kick, so.
Oh, I used it all the time. I thought it was great.
The game's design doesn't really require it, so it's kind of just a thing that you can do.
Yeah, it does make certain jumps pretty, like, it makes the game feel very safe. There's a lot of jumps where it's just like, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to make that. You can just flutter back.
I like the platform the platform filling that happens when you're giant. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was supposed to kind of be like a Pac-Man maze where you would try to deal with that stuff, and then you
Soon
just
as-
don't.
Soon
You
as
just
you get soon as you get a power pellet, you just go ham.
Pac-Man doesn't eat ham. He only eats fruit and dots.
And
Pretzels.
pretzels and Galaga spaceships. I'm not
keys.
It's very, very, very fucking weird diet.
It is kind of weird when you think about it, where it's just like Dippin' Dots were the ice cream of the future. The future is Pac-Man, then it turns out.
Also, Dippin' Dots to the Future was the Dippin' Dots to the Future for like the last 30 years. Now we're in the future now, so it's just Dippin' Dots.
Listen, the future is always, what is always coming but never arrives is one of those.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's the future, smartass. All right?
I thought you were just setting up for a Riddler joke.
It's not a Riddler joke, it's just a riddle. Riddler didn't invent the riddle.
What is something that no one wants to have, but no one also wants to lose?
A lawsuit.
I was directing that towards Ted. I know you know the answer.
Oh, sorry.
riddles in the dark.
Why? Are there no... Here's the riddle. Where the fuck's the light bulb?
Riddle me this, Batman. Help.
Tell me this, Batman. What's my password? I'm locked out.
My first 5 guesses were wrong, and now I've screwed myself.
You see, the worst thing is that when he eventually does log back on, it's going to be, oh, sorry, this password's already been used. Fuck you. I hate computers so much. Oh, man.